Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Wednesday Show. I'm Hammer, and I'm joined by my two favorite Wednesday Show hosts, Jen T. Maxey.
Hello.
And Terry Diamantis.
Hello.
How you doing, Terry?
Oh, yeah, pretty good. How about you?
I am well. Jen?
I'm doing okay. Yeah. How about you guys?
Terry's okay. I'm okay. We're all okay. Everybody's okay, okay?
All right. All right. There's a little bit of weird, fan. I don't know what that is.
Fans?
Yeah, it's a
We
fan.
have lots of fans. Everybody loves us.
Yeah.
Lots of fans. Before we get into topics, let's go ahead and say hello to everybody in chat. Terry, you want to start?
Sure. So we have Cannibalistic Wizard, Cynic. That might be everyone. Yeah, I think it's just Cynic and Cannibalistic Wizard over in our Rumble.
Little late on Rumble tonight. Jen, you want to take care of YouTube?
I sure can. Let me just make sure. Yeah. Okay. So at the top of the page, it's Hammer, and then we got ourselves. I know, right? And then we got ourselves a Rotten Corpse, and then we got ourselves a Terry, and then we got ourselves a THUR, and then we got ourselves a Kiever Dam, and a Mike Gar, and that's it.
Oh, hi, Kiever Dam. Well, before we get into the show, let me go over the topics really quick.
Sure.
The first one is DeCrying. I made sure that I got you guys the show notes this time. I was
Yes.
responsible. DeCrying is DeSantis's fans are complaining about Trumpers giving them a hard time. DeSantis is in a tough spot, so we'll get into that because it's something I wanted to discuss. Dead cold, in case anybody isn't aware, at least in northeastern Pennsylvania, it's fucking cold here. Holy shit.
Mm-hmm.
It's 9 degrees right now Fahrenheit, so that's like what?
That is too cold.
2 or 3 Celsius, something like that. And there's a lot of reports of people who are driving EVs who are frozen solid. They're not going anywhere. All the cars are all dead. They're all parked at chargers, and the chargers aren't working because they're so cold. So there's a whole bunch of cars that ain't going anywhere, and people are upset. So that's
imagine.
and then the up 16, the latest poll, because everybody wants to know about American politics. Latest poll shows Trump up 16 points on Haley going into New Hampshire. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we just started our caucus season a couple days ago in Iowa, where Trump destroyed everybody.
Yep.
Wasn't even close. He was up 51, I think, and Haley had 20, and DeSantis had 19. So even with the two of them combining efforts, Trump would still win.
Yep.
So that's where we're at. Do you guys want to talk about anything else?
Nothing going on that I could think. Well, there probably is, and I just didn't notice.
No. I mean, I bought a board game. We can all talk about that. That's very interesting, I'm sure.
What game?
It's called Destinies. It's kind of like a cross between a video game and a board game because there's an app where pretty much anytime you interact with the story, you need the app to tell you what happens. But there is physical components that you need, like cards and dice and stuff like that.
Okay, so group game?
It's for 1 to 3 players, so obviously I'm playing the solo mode, but if you have more than one player, it's a race, so the first one to complete their task wins.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you're kind of just exploring the map, and you've got your task might be find 3 silver items, or convince 3 townspeople to help you, and yeah, so whoever can do their thing first wins.
It sounds like it could be converted to a totally online game.
Yeah. A lot of the components I just don't bother with because the app covers it. I don't even have the board set up. The board is in the box because the app has a depiction of the board that you can interact with. So why do I need the physical one?
Right.
So anything that's to do with the world or the story is handled by the app. It's only your specific character that you need the physical components for.
Yeah, I stand corrected. It's more like minus 10°C. If it's 9 Fahrenheit, because 32 is hour 0,
Yes.
So if it's 9, it's significantly below 0. So it would be significantly below 0 C too. So I make it like -10 here.
Something
it's cold.
like that.
It's cold.
Yes.
Yeah.
Way too cold.
I'm not even going out in the back porch. The back porch is not heated, but it is enclosed. And that's where our main freezer and main fridge are. And I went out there 2 days ago, got a bunch of stuff and brought it to the in-house refrigerator. And I ain't going back out there again. it's just too cold. I'm sorry.
I wouldn't either.
Yeah, it's just. And here's the worst part of that. I haven't really told you about this. I'm in the computer room. Yeah, I actually have a bedroom that I converted just to be all computer stuff. The joys of living alone. Make the rooms whatever you want. And for some reason, the heat in here is not working. I have baseboard heat. And the 2 baseboards, neither one of them are getting hot. They're both ice cold. So I have maybe that's the fan that you're hearing, Jen. But behind me, there's an electric heater that I had to bring in the room.
That's what it is. Okay.
And it is 70. It is 71 in here. Now, people would say 71 is pretty good, but when you're 61 years old, 71 is kind of on the cold side.
Okay.
So I got my arms are inside my t-shirt to keep warm because my hands get cold really easy. So, but yeah. So I mean, the whole idea with the up 16, as far as the topics are concerned, this is a new poll. About, I don't know, maybe 2-3 hours before Iowa closed, it was a dead heat.
So speaking of polls, what music will the audience be choosing from?
Do you want to give them that information? All right, we'll give them that information. Usually I make the people on YouTube wait. But we'll give them
I was just making a pointless segue. It's just
but we can. I'll be generous tonight. I'm in a good mood. Tonight's 4 songs for the music poll for people on YouTube. People on Rumble already know this because they get the information ahead of time because they join us early. Poison's Unskinny Bop, Rascal Flatts, Life is a Highway, Matchbox 20, Unwell, and David Bowie's Modern Love. That'll be coming up at 9:30. As soon as my phone tells me it's 9:30, I'll go ahead and set up a poll for you guys to join and vote on. So, yeah, we could do that. I don't mind telling somebody early for a change.
But in chat, Rotten Corpse is saying Haley came in 3rd for Iowa.
Was it? Well, yeah, I think Ron was 20 and Haley was 19, or Haley was 19 and Ron was. They were almost tied for second place. Okay. It was that close. But the point I was making is that even if the two of them got together, they still wouldn't beat Trump.
Yeah,
especially because Ramsworthy, whatever his name is, he ended his run. He calls it suspended, but it's over.
Yeah, and
endorsed Trump. So all the 7.7% that he got all went for Trump. So when they go to New Hampshire, Trump's going to be even stronger.
Oh yeah, I do think it's funny. No one can say his name, so he tells them, "Just call me Vic."
Yeah, Vivek.
Yeah, but just call me Vic, V-I-K. They just call me that. It's easier.
I saw a video of him today where he was holding some kind of open debate stage thing, and they were getting ready to start. It was only maybe 20 minutes before they started, and there was a guy who was outside the venue who was protesting, and Vic came out. No security guards, nobody else, just him, went up to the guy and said, "Hey, listen, if you've got concerns, you can come inside and voice your concerns and I'll listen to you." He says, "Let me help you." He helped him pack up his stuff and brought him inside and talked to him inside the venue. Okay. He did this on his own by himself. Nobody said, "Hey, go out there and get that guy." He just said, "There's a guy outside? Really? Let me go talk to him." And he just did it. That's the kind of shit that Trump does.
Yeah.
And that's why people love him. So I could see why. I had some reservations about Vic. I didn't think he was a genuine person. He was too well put together. He reminded me of Obama. He was too polished. and he had that perfect smile, and it just seemed too good, you know. So I was always a little suspicious of him. And Cat Turd is also suspicious of him.
Oh yeah,
and not like
someone on Twitter actually played a video of stuff that Vivek has said and stuff that Obama said when he was running, and it's like almost word for word the same thing.
Yeah, I saw that video. That was another reason why I didn't really trust him that much. But when I see him do stuff like this, it's like there was a video of Trump where he was somewhere and they were passing a hat around for something, and Trump didn't have one of his guys put money in the hat. Trump reached into his fucking pocket, took out cash, and put it in the hat himself.
Oh, that's cool.
You know, people see Trump do shit like that, and that's why they love him.
Yeah.
You know, he can talk about putting bleach in his veins all he wants. People won't care. But when he does shit like that, there was a video of Trump getting on an airplane, and this is back when he was president, and there was a Marine staying at the landing at the bottom, and there was a wind came along and knocked the hat off the Marine's head. Trump stopped, picked up the hat, and put it back on his head and shook his hand.
Oh, cool.
That kind of shit, people will appreciate that stuff. That's the working man.
They do.
That's the working man angle, and that's what got him the kind of respect that he gets from the people who follow him. And it doesn't do anything for the people who don't follow him, but
because what you were saying about you don't like trust Vivek, I don't trust any of them. Like, they're politicians. I don't trust any of them as far as I can throw them. But because of that, it's like I would support Vivek if he was still running, just because he seems like Trump-ish without
baggage.
Because I know you don't like people saying it, but I think Trump is too old.
He is old. There's no doubt about that. I don't know about too old, but he's definitely old.
Yeah, but like Vivek is kind of like Trump-ish, but without the age problem.
And the baggage. He doesn't have the baggage Trump has.
Yeah. So I did kind of like Vivek, given, like, I don't trust him. I think he's probably just as phony as everyone else. But
well, this works out to his benefit in a big way, because if Trump makes him VP, then he spends 4 years as VP, and guess what he does in 2028? He runs as president.
Yeah,
and he's already proven himself as VP. So I mean, this puts him in a really good situation to win in 2028 if he runs.
I think it would be funny. I think it would be funny if Trump got one of his kids to run as the next president. So it's like
Don Jr. doesn't want it. He's already said that he's not going to do it under any circumstances. And people change their mind, and you never know with a politician, but he has no aspirations. He doesn't want to get involved. He doesn't know. He doesn't do. He's very much arm's length when it comes to all this stuff. He supports his dad, but he's not interested.
Oh, of course, yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, if the way things are shaking up, and this is really like two stories in one. The fact that Trump is up 16 going into New Hampshire, and that DeSantis fans are complaining about Trumpers, they're both kind of along the same lines. What's happening here with the caucuses puts DeSantis in a bad place. He's in a bad place.
It's also one of those things that I really want to tell the DeSantis people. The only reason that people didn't go hard for Vivek is because I think a lot of people just still feel the injustice of Trump not getting his last round last time. Yeah. Like, I do think a lot more people believe that he was cheated. They do believe that was rigged.
Absolutely true.
And as much as they want to say, well, it wasn't, no, people even outside of the box think it was rigged. But if Trump wasn't still running, I would say a lot of people that I watch are extremely happy with what Vivek was doing.
Yeah.
Like between the way he's handled it, the way he's tried to show just some integrity, like some actual integrity and some like honesty, at least from his opinion on things. You know, you're always going to think, well, like, you know, is there someone backing this guy? We don't know. But everything that he did, you know, just to show that to call out the lack of democracy in the way that they're going after Trump. That's the other reason people are going after Trump. Like a lot of people like DeSantis. A lot of people respect DeSantis. They can see what he's done for Florida.
See, I think it was always going to be Trump, because for most Trump supporters, if it's not Trump, they stay home. Like they don't say, I wanted Trump, but I'll settle for Vivek or DeSantis. They're like, it's Trump or nobody.
Yeah.
Whereas the Vivek and DeSantis and even probably the Nikki Haley fans, like, would be willing to support another candidate if theirs didn't make it.
Well, Trump, a lot of Republicans, whether you're a MAGA or not, a lot of Republicans consider Trump to be the incumbent.
Yeah.
Because, whether he was cheated or not, he's already been president.
Yeah.
So we already know what he's going to do. You say that you don't trust politicians, and I don't either. But we've seen 4 years of Trump is. So we know what the next 4 years with him would be. It would be just like the first 4 years. So I can trust that because I've experienced Trump already. So I just, I think if Trump wasn't in it, I think Vic would have won.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty reasonable assumption.
Yeah. I don't
he
think
he seems the most America first of the non-Trump.
He is.
Candidates.
He specifically is. When he got up on stage to endorse Trump, that's the first thing he said. The first thing out of his mouth was, "I'm here to represent an America first president." Yeah, it's exactly what he is.
I mean, some of the Trump supporters, if they didn't just stay home, the ones that would support another candidate, I can see Vivek being their choice of backup. If Trump had not been an option.
He also doesn't reek of the WEF.
I think he's in the WEF, isn't he? I think they all are.
They all are, but he doesn't reek of their lingo.
Right.
Like I can understand that people are in that, but at the same time, when you're pushing that language, you're gonna get an automatic no. Like right now, at least for our end, anywhere that you see WEF, you see people like, no, anything that I can do to kind of vote you out or get rid of you in any kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah, Green Badger Outdoors says the devil you know. That's exactly right. We know Trump. We know what he's like. So, and on Rumble, Cannibalistic Wizard said it. Talking about Vic, I call him tech support.
Yeah. It's funny you say the devil you know, because that brings us back to Australian music. That's a Kylie Minogue song.
There you go. That was a conversation we were having before we went live, I think.
Yeah.
So, you guys miss all the good stuff if you're not on Rumble.
There's also another thing too. Like I don't know if this would ever happen, because I got the impression that Vivek didn't necessarily want to go in as like the assistant for Trump, but I would like to see him work with Trump, because I think it would be if that happens, I think it'll go really well, because it's not just I respect that Trump is doing really well for his age. But I actually am in the category of liking to see people who are kind of young in the category of being involved, because nobody old is living forever. And I'd like to see who's going to be set up for the next 4 years afterwards.
Yeah. Well, Trump's, when Ramaswamy came on stage and said that he supported Trump said that Vic would be in his administration. He came out and said it. So, in what capacity, we don't know yet, but he will be in the administration somewhere.
I just like I said, as the outsider watching you, like it did feel like a lot of where Trump failed was lack of support. Like half the people who were supposed to be on his side, backstabbing him everywhere they got.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Cannibalistic on Rumble says Vivek can run the White House 7-Eleven.
You saw that Babylon Bee tweet? Did you see that?
I might have missed it. No,
me too, probably.
Babylon Bee had a tweet that said almost exactly that.
Okay.
And of course, it was a big, I'm so offended by this big groundswell of offending, and I was like out there after just about everybody saying, "Oh, you're a fucking joke, police, shut up."
Yeah.
I got pissed at people who were offended by it because it was a good joke. Ramaswamy thought it was a great joke himself.
Yeah.
He said, I'm a survivor. In other words, if it came down to me having to work at 7-Eleven, I would, you know. It was just a perfect response. I was like, another plus.
I think, if you're getting offended by the Babylon Bee, then you need to settle down.
Yeah, and this was a conservative who was getting the most upset. I was like, what the hell are you doing? You're acting like a leftist. Have a fucking sense of humor.
I mean, if you can't have a sense of humor about yourself, then, like, you need to fix that, because it's just like, you have to be able to laugh at yourself, your own side. Otherwise, you're just as annoying and obnoxious as the leftists are.
That is supposed to be one of the things that separates Republicans from Democrats, is that Republicans actually have a sense of humor. But lately, it's been like, you know, you say something off color by this, that, or the other, and you're starting to see pushback. You know, if you say something jokey about Trump, people are like, "Oh, you know, how dare you say that?" Well, dude, it's a fucking joke. Relax yourself. Get your stick out of your ass.
I think it's a joke is a perfectly valid defense. If you say something and, like, someone else gets butthurt about it, it's like, well, I was joking. Like, this isn't me saying I legitimately think this thing. It's like me being funny.
It's especially true when it's obvious you're joking. The Babylon Bee, that site is jokes. That's all it does.
Yeah.
So you know anything coming out, it's never going to be serious. It's always going to be a joke. If you want to hear something serious from the staff at Babylon Bee, they have a Twitter account called Not the Bee.
Yep.
That's serious shit.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I just can't understand why we're in a position now where we're actually acting like leftists. I'm including myself into the Republicans in this position, but
I think it's because we have our own version of radicals.
Yeah.
You know? And it's one of those things where you don't really we've seen so much of the radicals from the left that when you see it from your own side, it's like, oh yeah, you are there.
Yeah, it's just that previously anyone on the right who acted like that got kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas the leftists were allowed to carry on that way and stay on social media. Now that the right-wing nutjobs aren't getting kicked off Twitter, you can actually see, nutjobbery isn't just a left-wing thing. There's nutjobs on both sides.
I think the left still has more.
They do. They absolutely do. And I think that's part of it too. Is there, when you go as long as everybody else has gone, like all of us have gone, without having a kickback against that kind of shit, I think it's just bitterness. Like, oh, you know, we've kind of had our entertainment and, you know, what we're allowed to consider funny dictated to us for a while.
I think there's more leftist nut jobs for the same reason that there's, like, more tolerance for women acting in certain ways. So, like, they're allowed to do it. Like, they won't get in, like, any trouble. If a leftist acts like completely insane, then their side and basically the entire institution of, you know, the government, the media, they're going to say, good job, keep doing more of that. Whereas if a right wing acts like that, most of the time they're condemned for it. So it's like women acting entitled. They can get away with it because, you know, people are just like, that's you know, what women should be doing. Women should be acting like that. So if a man acts like that, they get condemned. A right-wing person acts like a leftist, they get condemned. So, you know, if you're being socially rewarded for acting like a lunatic, you're probably going to keep doing it.
And do it more. We've had some people join us that we should recognize. Tyra Alexander is in the chat. Lisa is in the chat. And our buddy the next 6 minutes is in the chat. How you doing, Six? But to finish my point about DeSantis and what's going on with him, his people are in a tough. Him and his people are in a tough position because Nikki Haley is going to beat him in New Hampshire. She's campaigned heavily in that area, and he has done nothing in New Hampshire. So the next caucus, she's going to come in second. That puts him in third place.
Okay.
So, and that's kind of embarrassing for him because there's a good chance that once she takes that second place spot, she'll probably hold it. So he's going to spend a lot of time in third place, and you don't want to be coming in third place when it comes around to Florida. Then that's really embarrassing. Now you're losing your own home state, which he's going to do because
Trump, that would be bad.
Well, he's going to lose it, but he's going to be lost into third place because Trump will take it outright because he's going to take everything outright. And the people who are DeSantis fans, they were shitty first before the Trumpers turned on them.
Yeah.
So they're kind of getting what they deserve to some extent. But in any case, they're complaining about Trumpers, but they're in a bad position because Trump's going to win the GOP nomination. That's a foregone conclusion. Unless
say so, yeah.
Unless he dies or does some huge gaffe, there's no way
I don't even think a huge gaffe would stop him from winning.
No, he'd probably turn around anyway. He'd laugh about it or do some kind of stupid joke.
The other truth, too, is that not everybody was necessarily a Trump fan to begin with. Like, I'm going to pick on Ben Shapiro because he's one of the few who changed his mind after the fact.
Yeah, he's a DeSantis fan.
But he started off as a never Trumper, you know? And the last election, yeah, he would have rather to have had DeSantis, but he was willing to vote for Trump. Like, if he doesn't have DeSantis, he's willing to vote for Trump.
Yeah.
But I think there are some people in the conservative movement who are also Trump deranged.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like there are some, yeah.
You know, and I think that's what it is. Like, they just have such a extreme hatred for him. And I'm like, listen, everybody deserves criticism, including Trump. Like, even the last run, everybody could say, yeah, I know what his run was like. We can see where he failed. You know, but you can work with that because you know where he failed and you know where he succeeded. But the Never Trumpers, yeah, they will. It is a derangement. Like, I don't like I don't like Trudeau, but I'm still aware of the fact that he's my leader. Like, you know, every time something bad that he does comes up, I don't automatically believe he does it. You know, I do prefer to have.
Not my prime minister.
I'm just saying, I would rather have proof that he did the shit that he did before I just jump into the whole, oh, everything bad is his fault. I do think most of the things that are bad in my country are his fault. I just don't like making up shit.
Another black man ruining the country, eh?
I did that to somebody. Oh yeah, I did that to Eric July. On his one of his streams, he was talking about, it was kind of a running joke that he was the cause of everything bad in the world.
Oh, okay.
And so the chat was basically Jonathan Frakes making up things that, you know, like he was the cause of. And so I told Eric that he was the reason, like he was the father of my prime minister, and I can understand why he ran away from Quebec, because I'm sure that their smokes are weird cheese flavor.
Everyone knows it was Fidel Castro, not Eric July, who spawned the monster that runs your country.
Oh, it was good. He laughed. He was like, "Wait, what?"
The assassin of the Gray has linked our show across all the Discords. Thank you very much for doing that for us. To finish up my story about DeSantis and where he's at, Trump will win the GOP. So DeSantis fans, although they are staunchly behind him, are the kind of people who will vote for Trump.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even if they're annoyed at what happened during the GOP race, when the GOP race is finished and he's won, they'll have a decision to make. Are they going to allow the people who annoyed them through the GOP race, make them vote for Biden? I really don't think you want to cut off your nose to spite your face. When you're when the GOP is done and it goes to the primaries, these DeSantis people are going to vote for Trump. That's the way it's going to go. So they have no choice. And as far as the GOP race is, Trump's going to win, they're going to lose. And then when it comes to the primary, they're going to have to vote for him. That's the
Do you think they'd actually run Biden for the Democrats?
I don't think anybody in the DeSantis group would vote for a Democrat.
No, but like you said, they wouldn't vote for Biden. I mean, do you think it would actually be Biden that the Democrats choose to run? Because I think that's a pretty bad idea. I don't know who would.
It is
would
a bad
take the
idea,
place.
but yeah, that's the issue. Is if not Biden, then who?
The only one I've heard people talk of is Gavin Newsom, and I don't know if that would go
Michelle Obama.
anywhere. Yeah, Michelle Obama.
I heard that too. I don't think either one would stand a snowball's chance in hell,
No.
but they can run them.
I watched a clip of that because they were talking about the Democratic the Democratic Party primaries, which is kind of a joke.
Mm-hmm.
But they were saying that they were completely cut out. So in all honesty, it is only going to be Biden. Like they're not even getting a chance to even attempt to run. Like even Cenk was actually against what they were doing to Trump because he was seeing what they are doing to their side in terms of their attempts at some kind of democracy, because the Democrats don't like Biden. They would like to have someone else to vote for other than Biden.
Yeah, I think everyone would.
Like
I don't think there's a lot of people that are like specifically Biden fans. Like they support Biden because they don't want to vote for Trump, but I don't know if there's anyone who's like actively pro Biden.
The poll is out, folks. If you want to jump in and vote for your favorite song, hopefully it won't be a 4-way tie or something silly.
Yeah,
because it always is.
It often is. It is a 3-way tie for second place, or fourth place, depending on how you want to look at it.
Tears got one too. He pointed out, like he said, Michael Obama.
Michael.
Yeah.
But I have heard rumors, or at least this clip that made it sound like she was gonna run. I was like, go for it, lady. Do it. Just watch what people are gonna do to you. I don't know if you know this, but people really have looked into your husband a lot more than you think.
Hi, Adam.
I resent them. I'm just saying, the last time we had an election up here, Obama endorsed Trudeau. That I will never understand why that man would think Trudeau is at all anything like a good leader, but he endorsed him and then acts like that wasn't, sorry, when a big leader like him pushes something like that, yeah, people will vote. Like, people still think Obama is some great leader of wisdom or something. Like, I don't know why he got away with election interference like that, but I'm just saying. If Trudeau endorses Biden, just know they were sniffing the same children.
Well, there's a lawsuit against Biden, right?
No. What's he?
You haven't heard about that? He's being sued. I only heard about it just before the show. He's being sued by somebody because he's not properly taking care of the border. And I think it's somebody important. I think it's like somebody in Congress or something.
Yeah, I mean, I hope they win.
Yeah, so I don't know what's going to happen there because you can't sue a president while he's president. But so I don't know. The man needs to be impeached. The southern borders, I mean, it's a requirement that he takes care of the borders, and he's clearly not doing that.
No, he's not.
And of course, Abbott has stepped up and is now taking care of the border. I guess you've heard about that.
Just in general, I've heard that Texas is like big on securing the southern border.
They kicked the feds out. The feds are no longer watching Eagle Pass. Texas Rangers are now watching the Eagle Pass and turning migrants back. People with riot shields are now posted along the border to prevent people from coming in.
Now that you've mentioned it, I did hear about that.
I think it could escalate more, and I wouldn't be surprised if it does. And no offense to these people trying to get across, if you don't know that enough is enough already, I could see things escalating to like Hungary, where you use high power hoses to just hose them off. if not worse. At what point is it not an invasion? It's an invasion. It is. And nobody is set up. Like, we have Trudeau up here going, oh, we can bring in refugees. We can't. It's if we bring in refugees, all the people who we have in our country who actually have needs for those refugee centers that used to be homeless centers, they freeze on the streets. That's what happens to them. You know, just like how you guys had a high school in New York taken. That's just one school. It's all of them when you have the flood that you have. Like we had that problem. Like, well, obviously it was worse for COVID because everyone was dumb for COVID. But no, half the time you see people who are coming over here on the streets. It's disgusting what they're doing. They're putting people in harm's way and then gaslighting the American people as though it's your fault. It's not your fault.
Well, we have kind of found out that even the Democrats here realize that immigration is a problem.
Well, yeah,
because they started receiving the migrants.
Yeah,
and I'd actually like to see you start dumping them in Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
No offense, but start dumping them in like. No, sorry. I feel bad for Hawaii. I know that they just went through shit, but dump them in Oprah's neck of the woods.
Yeah,
dump them on her lawn.
Yeah,
I agree with what they're doing. I feel bad for New York. Like, I don't doubt that there are people in New York who are genuinely suffering for this shit. But no, I'm tired of people not being aware of what's actually going on and then gaslighting everyone else.
See, I think all the celebrities that are endorsing open borders, well, how about we just open the border to their house and just let
yes.
anyone wander in anytime they want.
I mean, the migrants would love it. They live in like mansions sure and shit, you know? Like, it'd be great. They'd love it. They'd come in droves for that.
Yeah, you know, Madonna, she's got plenty of room. She could house, you know, several migrants. Why isn't she doing that thing?
I don't even know if she even has a house in the States. I think she's moved to the UK.
I just picked a random celebrity, but I'm sure there's plenty of celebrities in America you could dump refugees into their houses.
Oh yeah. Like, I'm all for that because they wanted it. They're all super for it. And I just it's the lack of responsibility for these people too that I've seen. Like, and how do they not see it as human trafficking? I don't know, because it is.
Cannibalistic Wizard says use high-powered hose filled with bear mace. I mean, that'll do it.
Wow.
Asura!
See, it's similar to my suggestion to Six, where I suggested landmines, because that'll get the message across.
I'm not sure.
Just stay away from the border if you don't want to step on a landmine.
I'm not sure where I heard this, but I heard that bear mace doesn't bother humans as much as it bothers bears. That human mace bothers humans more.
That makes sense.
That they are, the only difference is that usually bear mace is under a lot more pressure, so it get a lot more distance.
I wouldn't want either in my face, though.
No.
Well, how about Nancy Mace? Where does she rate in terms of irritation?
He's the biggest irritant around.
Good.
How are we doing on our? We have 14 votes on tonight's outro music. How do we?
It is pretty convincing for David Bowie.
Okay, Bowie wins. I will go ahead and end before somebody votes and ties something up. David Bowie wins. David Bowie wins the poll tonight at 42%.
Yeah,
and that's okay by me because
I'm always gonna miss that guy's eyebrows.
Who did you vote? Who did you vote for?
Oh, I voted for David Bowie.
Did you? What about you, Terry? Who did you vote for?
I went for Life is a Highway.
I like all of the songs. I just, like I said, I miss his eyebrows. He was a classic. But I miss his eyebrows. It was one of the things I noticed about him first when I was a kid. You know, in the Labyrinth, that I'm like, man, that guy has the most fly eyebrows I've ever seen.
If you're watching eyebrows and if you're watching Labyrinth and the eyebrows are the first thing that catch your attention, you probably watched it when you were too young. Watch it again when you're like 15, and you're like, okay, now I know why this is such a popular movie.
Oh, I know that one. I was 13 for that one. All my friends were like, have you seen his dick? And I was like, how do you not? But you know, like they tell you not to stare at the titties, you should look at the eyes. I was looking at his eyes.
Yeah, sure you were.
Well, once you see the spandex, you cannot unsee what's in the spandex. You don't need to look anymore. You
know, it's pretty funny how guys are assumed to be this way, but it's kind of shocking to hear girls this way. At least for me, it is. You know, guys are supposed to be, oh, she got big hooters, ma. But then you hear girls saying, he's got a big pack. Look at that big dick. You're like, holy shit, women do it too.
Well, I think it's just, but it ties back into what I was saying before. It's more socially acceptable for guys to act in that manner, so you hear more of it. Like, it's disintegrating. It's not as bad as not as much as it used to be. But women tend to be viewed poorly if they're going around talking about, hey, check out that guy's dick. Whereas guys saying, hey, check out that girl's tits, it's crass. It's obviously it's crass, but it's far more accepted for a guy to do it.
Yeah, we're expected to. Our Thursday night host, Johnny Hellcat, is in chat. Hey, Johnny.
Hi, Johnny.
Yeah, I don't know. I just, you know, I don't have that much experience. I don't have any sisters. Well, I have a sister, but she moved away. So I don't really have any experience with sisters. My sister's older than me, and I was still a baby when she moved out. So, and I mean, I don't really hang around girls that much, even in high school or college. You know, I had girlfriends, but I was at school. You know, I wasn't just going to parties and hanging out with girls all the time. So I don't get to hear all the backroom stuff. My wife was very overly mannered. Is that a word?
I guess.
She was kind of on the prim and proper side.
Yeah.
So, I mean, she barely even cursed, and her curses were darn and drat and stuff like that. She was very
concerned.
There was something about that always kind of bothered me, is that she never just let go and said "fuck you" or something like that. She just didn't have it in her. I'm sure she was thinking it, but she never said it. And my current girlfriend,
I think it's again one of those societal expectation things.
Maybe
it's viewed worse when women are acting like that. Like a woman who's like, fuck you, you can't. like that sounds a lot worse coming from a woman than a man. It's like just social expectations of gender roles.
My girlfriend's kind of still like a 12-year-old when it comes to her language, just to her language. Don't get the wrong idea here. She's 33, but when she gets annoyed at something, she picks like silly words. She doesn't say the typical curses like, "Oh, that's son of a bitch" or something like that. She says, "What did you say the other snuggle farts?"
Yeah.
She got upset. What was it that? Oh yeah, she was doing something. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention, but I hear from the other room, "Oh, snuggle farts!" What the fuck is a snuggle fart? You know, that's her cursing. So even with her, it's very mild stuff. I'm the guy back in the computer room yelling and screaming at my monitor about shit.
There's a YouTube channel I watch called DGR, and it's a family-friendly channel, but he's playing a really frustrating game, Super Mario Maker 2. So he'll get mad and he'll be like, "Oh, heck it!"
That's as worst you can get. It's a family-friendly channel. He has to do that.
Yeah, he has to make sure he doesn't say anything he's gonna get in trouble for. So he's like, "Oh, heck it!" And he's like, I think I can't remember some of the other ones, but yeah, he's got like substitutions for all the typical swears.
There's a YouTube channel that I watch called Junkyard Digs. And what they do is they go to like barn finds and junkyards, and they find cars that just, they're carbureted, so they're old enough. And he gets them running again. And He'll get them in a position where they're safe, and then he'll sell them and let people continue to fix them. That's his whole spiel, his whole thing. And he's got a girlfriend that she's his fiance now, and he's definitely a good old boy. Got a big old beard. He looks like the guy who sings the Northmen from North whatever.
Oh, Oliver Anthony, is it?
Oliver Anthony. He looked kind of like Oliver Anthony. Is how he kind of looks. You know, Bill barrel chested, a little bit of a belly. His girlfriend's just adorable. But in any case, they're also a family friendly channel, so when they use heck a lot too. You know, she'll do something. She'll, you know, get oil on him or something like that, and he'll say, "Well, you hecker." You know, the same deal as just the word heck.
That's another one. He'll go son of a butt instead of son of a bitch.
Son of a butt. That's silly, isn't it?
Yeah.
Kind of like those words, though. You know, using words that you don't hear very often. Like Weibo uses shenanigans all the time.
Yeah.
You know, those words. I love those words that you don't hear very often that are just colloquial terms. I almost want to write them down as I hear them. That way I can try to reincorporate them into my language. I don't know if that's going to make me sound a certain way or not, but I enjoy hearing that kind of stuff. But did you guys want to cover how fucking cold it is? Is it as cold, Jen, for you as it is for me?
Probably not. It was weird.
Terry is sweltering right now, so it's me and you.
It's 28 degrees Celsius where I am. So, I mean, that's
58.
Getting hot, but it's like
degrees.
It's not terrible. Anything under 30, I can handle.
Well, we're in January. We're in the dead of winter right now, so you should be in the dead of summer.
Yeah. 28 is like, it's hot. I'm not going to pretend it's not. But anything under 30 is manageable.
The temperature here has actually gone up during the show. It is now 14.
Oh.
Yeah, it's -3 Fahrenheit in my neck of the woods. But it was a lot worse last week.
Jeez.
So that's why I was like hesitant on saying it was cold, because when you've been in minus like 30, I think the worst it got was -36, but that was overnight. So I didn't have to deal with that. But when it's -36, -21 is not that bad. You kind of feel like a wuss complaining about it.
When it gets down to this cold for this long of a time period, I start worrying about the pipes freezing and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, yeah, keeping your whole house warm. Yeah.
But the news about the cold has been, it's cold, but what really is kind of scary is all the Teslas that are not moving. And all the Tesla charging stations that aren't working. The stations will not charge anything because the chargers themselves are so cold that they don't function.
Can I tell you something that makes me laugh every year? Every year that it gets as cold as it does up here, and they're like, "Oh, this stuff was all designed to work in the winter." And I'm like, even if it's designed to work in the winter, you do realize it's stressing more, right? It's going to break down at some point. It's probably more stress because of winter. Because they do.
No, I mean, you guys live in a different world from, at least from me. I mean, if you live up in Maine or something like that, where it's really close to Canada as opposed to me, Pennsylvania's down a little bit, you know, so every certain amount of mileage down from Canada, it just keeps getting warmer, obviously. And I spent a lot of time living in Virginia. I still have a house there. And it's like 10 to 12 degrees warmer there than it is here almost all the time. So I kind of make the assumption that it's 10 to 15 at least colder for you than it is for me, but that's not always true.
We like my neck of the woods is just a little bit weird. Like southern Alberta is always weird in the same sense that BC's a little bit weird. Like they have the bear. Actually, Sora would say it better than I could. She's in chat there. But the bear forest, like the way it is with the mountains, it traps in a lot of warm air for them. But for us, like the Chinook thing that I bring up every once in a while, and everyone's like, it's a helicopter.
Well, you're not far from the Great Lakes, are you?
I'm very far from the Great Lakes. I'm
Oh.
closer to Montana.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Sora's even further away. She's West Coast.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but not by much. She's closer to Washington State than.
Mm.
So you're closer to her than you are to me.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, I mean, it would take me a long time unless I took a plane. Like if I took a plane, it's a 3-hour plane, and that's just taking time.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's when you're stuck in the airport for God knows how long for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, going to Ontario would take me the same amount of time though. Like it really depends on where she is. Like if she's in a small neck of the woods area, I mean,
The reason I ask about that is because water makes a significant difference in air temperature. If you're close to the coast, it's going to be warmer because you have water there to stabilize the air temperature. That's why I asked if you're close to the Great Lakes, because if you're close to the Great Lakes, it's always like 10 degrees warmer.
well,
If it helps, I can tell you that you, Jen, and Sora are all closer to each other than you are to me.
it's
Really?
Yes.
It would be easy to think that way, but what they actually deal with in terms of their cold has more to do with the humidity than necessarily what we deal with. So I don't know about Sarah's neck of the woods. She is near the coast, so she does have humidity. My neck of the woods is like part plains, part mountains. So we have very high altitudes, so it's very dry. Like it's kind of a running gag that if you get off of the plane, the first thing you want to do is go buy yourself a 2 liter of water and just start chugging it because it's just dry. But you also get really high winds, so it might be minus 34. But then I have to take into account the wind chill, which might make it more like minus 51, which is why you'll see my neck of the woods go from being like kind of warm to like the coldest place on the
Tundra.
planet. Yeah. Whereas the coast, like say you go to the East Coast, well, they actually deal with a lot more snow than we do. I've never dealt with the snow that they deal with. I've never had to tunnel my house to another person's house just to get around. They do. But I talked to some of my British friends about that too, because, you know, anyone kind of closer to the coast. And I'm like, well, you deal with, it's not like it doesn't get cold there, but they have more salty air.
Mm.
You know, and I wondered if the salty air might actually kind of thaw the snow. Like they get snow, but it's going to be more thawed. So it's going to be a damp snow is what I think. And I think that way about New York. And I think that way about, you know, the coast of Ontario and Quebec. It's more damp, clumpy snow. I wouldn't take it. I'll take my high altitude and my high winds. All I got to do is like wear bundles and stuff. I'm fine. The humidity though, the bone thing, like it creeping into your bones, or like the butt sweat you get in the summer, I don't deal with that as much. Like I deal with the heat, and I'm a big baby about that, but you know, I don't have the humidity part of it.
The problem with the snow here is that it snows and then it melts a little bit, then it snows again. Almost every time we get snow, we always get hit twice, and the first one melts a little bit. So by the time you get the second one, if you want to walk out there, you're a dead man, because there's ice underneath the snow, and there's nothing slippier than stepping on top of snow that is on top of ice. You're not getting any traction. You're going down. And that happens here almost every time, just about every time. Very rarely do we just get one pile of snow and that's it. It's almost always a double shot. The reason is because we're on the top of a mountain. Mm-hmm. So you get hit by the snow when it comes down, and then as it passes over top of you, you get a circular effect, and it dumps a second time on you from the same front. So it's just crazy how it ends up here. And the funny thing is, very rarely do you see any traffic accidents around me. Even with that kind of bad combination, we're so used to it that we know when to drive and when not to drive.
Yeah.
So
Sora told me that she's actually had a huge dump, like her powers.
That is too much information.
So
probably the wrong way to say that.
Well, you know, it's snow up here, but To be fair, it's one of those things when I think about PC, I always get like caught up on where that warmth kind of kicks in and where it doesn't, because it's very quick before you hit Yukon. You know, all of a sudden you're in the Yukon and you're like, shit, it's Canada again. Sorry, Sora. Well, no, that's what you talk about. Well, that's how I refer to snow. It's white shit that falls on you. It's a dump.
Yeah.
Phrasing. Thank you, Johnny.
Yeah.
I need to do that. I need to. The only thing I've been able to get off the net that I could use for the show, because a lot of people have. Did I delete it already? I might have deleted it already. Is I had a lot of shows have like a little what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out here. Little sounders that they play.
I like the soundboard.
Oh, do I still have it? Is that it right there? Let me move these. I'm going to screw up my screen. Yeah, see, soundboards, right? Like little sounders and that kind of stuff. And I wanted to build sounders that would work with the show, and phrasing should be one of them. And I can do that. But I found this program. You know how you can take music and remove the vocals from the music, and it just plays the music only? It uses like an AI in front of it to get rid of the vocals. Well, I found this program that will do the opposite. It'll get rid of all the music in the background so you can hear just the vocals.
Cool.
So there's music playing behind this, but if you've seen the movie Serenity, the main character, Mal, is going to fight the fight for the good guys, and he's trying to get his crew behind him. And he uses this phrase. Hopefully the sounder works. I don't know if the volume's going to be enough. But he says, I aim to misbehave. I don't know if you guys heard that or not. I could play it again. Didn't. I'll turn it up a little bit and play it again. I aim to misbehave. He's saying, I aim to misbehave.
Oh, yeah, I know that.
Yeah. And I was trying to find a place where that would fit on our show, but I really couldn't. I'm a big Firefly fan. So I went out there just to see if I could get, and if you're watching the movie, there's music playing behind him. But when I played that for you, you heard no music behind him. So that program, I wanted to test that program to see if it can do that, and it could. It did it really well. So I've been looking for sounders, and phrasing is, because I'm a big fan of Archer as well. I need to see if I can get a copy of phrasing, because I could actually use that during the show, because you guys sometimes say some pretty crazy stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway. Well, we're coming to the end of the show. Do you guys have anything else you want to talk about?
I just want to validate the Assassin of the Grey who says Firefly was so overrated. I agree.
Yeah. There's something about it. I don't know what it is about Firefly that whenever there's any kind of online thing of what shows got canceled that should never have been canceled, there's almost always somebody when they ask that question, the first thing they'll say, except for Firefly, because we all know that that's the one. But except for that one, what other ones got canceled?
No, I honestly think the fact that it got canceled is the main reason that people worship it so much, because they think, what could have been.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if it had a chance to just play out the full first season, I think people would have been a bit more satisfied with it, and then, like, there wouldn't be that longing for more. So I think that's what drives most of it.
Well, it did get a full first season. It just never got a second season.
I thought it was canceled in the middle of the season, maybe. But like, if it had a chance to live its life, like run its course, people would have probably not seen it in such glowing lights. It's kind of like it's a decent show. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's not nearly as wonderful as people make it out to be.
It's very common for shows to run too long, and they kind of ruin the show because you get in the 6th and 7th and 8th seasons and shit like that, and it's just not like it was in the first 2 or 3,
Yeah.
But this one, it was just had started at 0 and got to 9, and the assumption was it was going to keep going up. It was just on a upwards arc the entire time. If it would have leveled off during the middle of the show and become, a certain level, it probably wouldn't be anything. But There was so much promise for what it could have been, and that's what the people have a problem with.
But with what you were saying, I've actually noticed that with South Park, because I've been like watching all the episodes in order.
Mm-hmm.
I'm up to season 7, and it's very different from like the first 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah,
like big difference. It's still good, but like you can definitely see there's been a change in the like. I don't know. It's hard to describe, but more far-fetched kind of. They even made fun of themselves for doing it in one episode. It's like after 100 episodes, you just get sillier and sillier. It's like
yeah. Thor makes a good point. At least Firefly got a film to wrap up the ending. How many failed TV shows get a major motion picture?
That's true.
As far as I know, it's the only one. There was a behind the scenes for Firefly on YouTube that talks about this and says, and makes that point that as far as the guy knows who's made the video, I think it was Popcast who made the video, said, as far as we know, no other canceled TV show has ever had a major motion picture behind it.
Yeah. That is crazy that it happened.
It's crazy. And the funny thing is, Sora is right. It does. If you wanted to tie up all the loose ends, every loose end except for one is tied up by that movie. The only thing that's not tied up by the movie is a love interest between the captain and the prostitute. That's the only thing it never. But there's kind of a hint that it's going to be tied up, but they don't come out and say it, because at the end she says, "I don't think I want to leave the ship," and he looks at her and he says, "Good answer." Yeah. In other words, I want you to stay. But they don't kiss and hug or anything like that. But
Assassin says I was right. It was cancelled halfway through season 1. They just released the rest of the season later.
Yeah, they canceled broadcast.
It was cancelled, but they'd already like made the episodes, and then they just like
they canceled the broadcast. There was like 3 episodes that never got released until it was picked up by a European sci-fi channel, or somebody else picked them up, and then they released the episodes that never got released in the first place. Yeah, it was canceled on Fox or UPN, I think, or Fox.
It was Fox, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it got canceled there because Fox aired it out of order and preempted half the episodes. They totally fucked the show over.
And there's a lot of people hating on Joss Whedon in chat, which I can support.
Well, I mean, the things that I know about Joss Whedon is Dollhouse, Buffy. He was co something on Buffy, Firefly, and he saved the Avengers movie. So
I will admit I didn't mind Dr. Horrible's sing-along blog, but I think that was
Dr.
more
Horrible.
Nathan Fillion than Joss Whedon.
It was. So, I mean, all the things that I know of as far as things that he's produced, most of the things that I know of that he's produced, I liked.
Yeah.
So the scandal of him being whatever he is, a rapist or a pedophile, everybody in Hollywood's a rapist and pedophile. Yeah. So I really can't care about that. But, I mean, I don't care about it, him specifically. They're all fucked. But,
yeah. No, I agree.
So I really can't.
I haven't seen Dollhouse. I didn't even watch Angel. Like, I watched all of Buffy. I watched Firefly. I watched the sing-along blog. I didn't watch the Avengers. What's that?
You watched Firefly?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. I didn't know that.
That's why I'm saying it's overrated. It's like, it's fine. It's like a decent show, but...
Yeah, he said he liked it, but it wasn't that great. Like,
yeah, like it's decent, but it's not the amazing...
I thought you had heard about it and thought it was decent. I didn't know you actually watched it.
Yeah. I've seen it. It's like I said, it's okay. Dr. Gunsky says Dr. Horrible was okay, but then the Suez got a hold of it and made it unbearable. I don't know what the Suez did to it. I don't pay attention to the fandoms. The actual show, it was decent. I enjoyed I enjoyed Nathan Fillion being a dick to Neil Patrick Harris.
Yeah.
I haven't watched anything. Once I moved out of house, I got my computer and it was all internet for me. And I know I could stream stuff, but I refuse to pay for
money.
any of this. Well, you know, it's one of those things where in the past I would have considered it, but then everything that came out over the last 5 years has me going, I don't really want any of them.
Yeah. But I mean, the thing about, for me, when it comes to that kind of stuff is I use Amazon regularly to buy stuff. And it's cheaper for me if I have an Amazon Prime, so I don't have to pay for shipping, because shipping can get expensive pretty quick, especially some of the big things that I buy. So it saves me money to have Amazon Prime. I just don't ever pay for shipping. And guess what you get with Amazon Prime? Movies.
Yes. Right.
So it's a win-win.
I think the other thing too is like beginner YouTube, you could find clips of things. It wasn't like now where you would take like 10 million clips to get a full episode of something. You really could get it in like two, you know, they would clip it in two.
Yeah.
You know, so you'd watch an episode in two videos. So I could technically still watch TV on the YouTube. It's just you're not allowed to do that anymore.
Well, and there's YouTube TV, but you'd have to pay for it too.
Yeah.
Beth Castleman in chat is saying it wasn't Avengers, it was Justice League that Joss Whedon was writing for.
No, he rewrote the end of Avengers because the guy who was originally writing with it dropped out or got sick or died or something like that. And Joss Whedon had to step in and finish it.
Yeah, I've got no idea. I'm just, I saw it in chat and I thought I should let you know.
I've known Beth for a long time. Beth's been a follower of mine for a long time. Hi, Beth.
Yeah, she's been around for a long time.
For the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Whedon wrote and directed the ensemble superhero film The Avengers and its sequel, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Okay, there you go. I've seen one Marvel movie and I didn't like it. As I pointed out, I've seen one Marvel movie and I didn't like it.
Which one did you see? Was Iron Man 2 or something like that?
No, the first Iron Man.
Oh, Iron Man 1, okay. I knew it was Iron Man something.
Yeah, because we did that movie thing way back when, and your pick was Iron Man, for like what movie we're going to watch that week.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I watched it with you guys, and not for me.
Although boobies works too, Tier.
Yeah. Probably gets you more interest in just movies.
I'll take boobies too. All right, well, let's get out of here. It's like 10:07, so we're past time, and we want Jen to get her beauty rest. She doesn't need it, but we want her to get it anyway. Thanks, Pam, as always, for chatting with us tonight. If you can't wait for the next Wednesday show, remember the Minions are live every evening, including weekends, with most shows starting around 11:30 p.m. Eastern, 7 days a week. And don't forget, Johnny's show is on tomorrow, so make sure you stop by and say hello. Host and start times are linked in the description down below. Don't forget about the Rumble pre-show, where all the good shit happens. You don't want to miss out on that. That stream starts generally a half an hour before YouTube. We'll be back next Wednesday at 9 p.m. as usual. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, and we'll see you again next week. Have a great night.
Have a good one.